Good morning, I'm Remo, and in 1959, British researchers' remains have been discovered on an Antarctic glacier after 66 years missing. This is the Daily Signal for August 12, 2025. Stay tuned for the rest of the stories.
Unfiltered. Now,
Here are the other top stories for August 12, 2025. Al Jazeera journalists killed in Israeli airstrikes spark international outrage and press freedom concerns. Australia officially recognizes Palestine as sovereign state, despite strong U.S. opposition and diplomatic warnings. Chinese warship crashes into Philippines Coast Guard vessel during South China Sea pursuit operation. European Union and Ukraine leaders reach out to Trump ahead of critical U.S.-Russia summit. Netanyahu vows rapid Gaza City capture as military operations intensify across the territory. Greek authorities seize 600 pounds of cocaine hidden inside banana cargo shipment. Armenia and Azerbaijan announce renewed commitment to advancing their historic peace agreement. Israeli strikes kill aid workers and civilians at Gaza distribution sites. New York man fatally shot outside Bad Bunny concert in Puerto Rico raises security concerns. Now let's dive into each story. Breaking overnight, researchers have confirmed the discovery of human remains on the Langhovde Glacier in Antarctica, believed to belong to a British explorer who vanished during a 1959 expedition. The remains were found by a scientific research team and have been sent for forensic identification. This discovery provides closure to a decades-old mystery that has puzzled polar researchers for over 6 decades. The UK's Polar Research Institute has announced plans for a memorial service once identification is complete. Why this matters? This highlights the extreme dangers of Antarctic exploration and demonstrates how the harsh polar environment preserves historical mysteries that can finally be solved with modern technology. 2 Al Jazeera journalists were killed yesterday when their press vehicle was hit during an Israeli airstrike in Gaza. The attack has sparked widespread international condemnation from the UN and multiple governments calling for thorough investigations. Al Jazeera condemned the attack as deliberate targeting of media workers. Israel stated it was targeting militant positions but regretted civilian casualties. Additional journalists were reportedly injured in the strike. This incident intensifies global concerns about press freedom in conflict zones and highlights the extreme risks journalists face covering the Israel-Gaza conflict. International calls are growing for stronger protections for media personnel in war zones. Australia officially announced recognition of Palestine as a sovereign state yesterday, making a significant shift in its Middle East policy despite strong U.S. opposition. The administration expressed disappointment, warning the move could undermine peace efforts. Australia's foreign minister stated the recognition aims to bolster peace prospects and respect Palestinian self-determination. Palestinian officials welcomed the decision as historic endorsement of their statehood claims. Here's why this matters. This marks the first time a major Western ally has recognized Palestine recently, potentially encouraging other countries to follow and significantly affecting diplomatic dynamics in Middle East peace negotiations. A Chinese Navy warship collided with a Philippines Coast Guard vessel yesterday during a pursuit near disputed islands in the South China Sea. The Philippines vessel sustained damage with minor injuries reported among crew members. China blamed the Philippines for reckless maneuvers, while the Philippines protested the aggressive actions and called for international mediation. The incident occurred amid rising regional tensions over maritime claims and fishing rights. This collision highlights escalating confrontations in one of the world's most militarized maritime flashpoints, critical for international shipping routes and central to U.S.-China strategic competition in the region. European Union leaders and Ukrainian officials have reached out to President Donald Trump ahead of the upcoming U.S.-Russia summit scheduled for August 15th. The outreach aims to explore potential diplomatic leverage regarding Russia's ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Ukrainian officials highlighted the importance of using all diplomatic channels, while EU leaders stressed the need for broader coalition building. Trump's office acknowledged the interest but hasn't committed to direct involvement. This move underlines how U.S. domestic politics are intertwined with global diplomacy on Ukraine-Russia tensions and shows attempts to secure peace or leverage before critical negotiations begin. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated yesterday his pledge for rapid military action to capture Gaza City amid ongoing operations that have killed multiple civilians and journalists. Recent intensified strikes resulted in numerous civilian deaths, including media personnel. Netanyahu defended the offensive as necessary to eliminate Hamas militants, while international voices urged restraint and respect for civilian lives. The escalating campaign has drawn criticism for disproportionate civilian casualties. The military escalation risks broadening the humanitarian crisis and complicates international peace efforts throughout the region, with growing calls for immediate ceasefire negotiations. Greek authorities seized approximately 600 pounds of cocaine hidden inside a cargo shipment of bananas at the port of Thessaloniki yesterday. The drugs were concealed in crates among the fruit shipment arriving from South America. Investigations are ongoing into the international trafficking network behind the smuggling operation. Greek police emphasize their commitment to disrupting drug trafficking routes into Europe. This major bust points to continued use of maritime trade routes for narcotics trafficking, raising serious concerns about organized crime networks and European border security capabilities. Armenia and Azerbaijan announced renewed commitment to advancing their peace agreement yesterday, following months of intermittent negotiations. Both sides agreed to organize new high-level meetings focusing on border demarcation and prisoner exchanges. Government offices from both nations expressed cautious optimism, with international mediators backing the process and pledging continued support. Economic cooperation frameworks are also under discussion. This peace deal is critical for regional stability in the South Caucasus, directly impacting energy routes, security alliances, and preventing further armed clashes between the two nations. Israeli military operations killed several aid workers and civilians at Gaza distribution sites yesterday, coinciding with Australia's recognition of Palestine. International humanitarian groups condemned the attacks on aid facilities. Israel claimed it targeted Hamas infrastructure hidden near civilian areas, but aid organizations disputed these claims. The strikes occurred at multiple refugee and aid distribution locations across Gaza. These attacks exacerbate the humanitarian crisis in Gaza and fuel global calls for immediate ceasefires amid worsening civilian casualty tolls and collapsing aid delivery systems. A 29-year-old New York man was fatally shot yesterday during violence outside a Bad Bunny concert in San Juan, Puerto Rico. The victim was caught in an altercation following the high-profile entertainment event. Police investigations are ongoing to identify suspects involved in the shooting. Local authorities pledged increased security measures at public events, while the victim's family and concert promoters expressed condolences. This incident highlights growing concerns over public safety at major entertainment events and could impact Puerto Rico's tourism reputation and cultural event security protocols. Looking at today's stories, three major themes emerge that will shape global events in the coming weeks. First, press freedom under attack. The killing of Al Jazeera journalists in Gaza represents a broader pattern of media suppression in conflict zones worldwide. This directly connects to democratic values and international law enforcement that affects how we understand global conflicts. Second, shifting diplomatic alliances. Australia's recognition of Palestine, despite U.S. opposition, signals potential fractures in traditional Western unity. Combined with European outreach to Trump ahead of the U.S.-Russia summit, we're seeing allies hedging their bets on American leadership continuity. Third, escalating maritime tensions. The China-Philippines collision in the South China Sea reflects broader concerns about freedom of navigation in critical shipping lanes. This affects global supply chains and energy security that impacts your daily life through prices and availability of goods. Here's what this means for you. These stories aren't isolated incidents. They're interconnected challenges that will influence international stability, economic markets, and security policies affecting everyone globally. The key detail to remember: When traditional alliances show cracks, as we're seeing with Australia and Europe making independent moves, it creates uncertainty that markets hate and conflicts exploit. Stay informed, stay engaged, and remember that understanding these connections helps you navigate an increasingly complex world. This has been the Daily Signal. I'm Remo. Subscribe for tomorrow's essential news, share this episode, and send us your thoughts on today's stories. Until tomorrow, stay informed.
Unfiltered. Now.